Dream Theater, and you're listening to or watching the podcast Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian. Enjoy this. These guys are extremely informative. I love their dialogue. I love their interpretation of the songs, who and what we are, what we were going after. They're very accurate in their interpretations and descriptions, and I just think this is a great show, and these guys are doing a stand-up stellar job. So once again, enjoy Talking into Infinity with JT and Brian.
Hey everybody, Jordan Rudis from Dream Theater here, and you are watching Talking into Infinity.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to a very special breaking news episode of Talking into Infinity, a Dream Theater-centric podcast. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, talkingintoinfinity.com, the cmsnetwork.com, and the CMS Network Rumble page. If you are tuned in for the first time on YouTube and you have not done so already, please click the like button, click the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. Fuck all this intro shit. Let's bring Brian on. Brian, we finally have the information and the music we have been waiting for. We finally know what the new record is. We finally know what the new single is. And we already have our very first guest host. So, guys, real quick, that link at the bottom of the screen, if you guys put that into your browser, it'll take you into our green room, and we can bring you onto the show, just like we're bringing on our very good friend, Mr. Cale McLeish. What's up, Cale?
Hey, how we doing?
Pretty good. All righty. So, Brian, you and I are going to be doing a deep dive into this and our thoughts about Parasomnia. And, you know, we're going to be really digging into Night Terror, which we've never actually dug into a song by itself before. So we'll do that next week. But so we wanted to have like the fans on to give their reactions. So, Cale, you know, I mean, obviously you're first up here. You jumped on immediately. You know, what is your initial reaction to the song and the album and all that kind of stuff?
Honestly, I'm loving it. I think the concept of Parasomnia is going to be great. I'm feeling could be somewhat conceptual, especially when, you know, you look at the term Parasomnia on Google and the first thing it throws up is, oh, this is going to give you night terrors. It's like, you mean what it did? We've got a single called Night Terrors. I wonder if they know what this means.
All right. Look at this, Cale. Giovanni Palaya, good to see you. He says Cale already learned the solo.
No, he hasn't.
Do you have all the Portnoy drum parts down, Cale?
Yeah.
I got too few toms for that, but
I actually saw somebody
not as cool as Wayne's, but it'll do.
Nice.
I love that finish on that guitar, man.
Yes,
I actually saw somebody today, the Dream Theater message boards, and we'll get to that. I'll kind of hold back some of my thoughts for next week, but the Dream Theater message boards on Facebook and stuff today, they did not disappoint. And there was actually some guy in there that commented on the drum parts. Oh, you know, Portnoy's playing all these easy fills. And I was like, you know, I'm never one to be like, why don't you post what you can do? But I almost did. I was like, bro, post you playing drums. If you're going to make a comment that Portnoy's playing easy stuff, you need to post your own playing.
Oh man, if you think that's the easy fills, you've been spoiled through the Mangini era, haven't you?
Right, a little bit. So Brian, what was your? And obviously, again, we're saving our huge reaction for next week. But what was your immediate reaction to Night Terror?
Well, first of all, I want to go back in the green room because that's the only way the Guardians got a home run. We're up 2-1. So
yes, yes.
Jose Ramirez broke the Guardians home run streak. So.
It's Josie. Yes, my favorite. Yeah.
So this is going to be a tough episode because I'm going to be watching this game like a hawk here and still commenting. You know what, man? I like the song a lot. I figured I probably would. I'm not don't think it's like anything totally insane. Like, oh my god, we've never heard this before. This is off the charts. But I love the concept of the concept album. If that sounds stupid.
Right.
I've always been. Well, I talked before. Like I like songs. I think we talked before about. We're talking about Pale Blue Dot. I love songs about science fiction and space and stuff like that. And I love the band Starset. I also love stuff about nightmares or dark things in general. Like that, I've just always drawn to that because I think it's much more powerful and it could take you on a type of a journey. And I think that's what we're going to get on this album. We're going to get, basically take us on this kind of a ride through this whole story, whatever it is. I don't even care. But so far, I'm intrigued and I dig what I hear.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, it's weird, but I think I listened to it incorrectly. I would say, the song's growing on me because when I first listened to it, I listened to it by watching the video, and I think I was so busy watching the visuals that I was like, the song's a little underwhelming at first. But the more I
Yeah, I
listened
know
to
what
it,
you
I'm like,
mean.
all right, yeah, it's kind of a different experience, and I've never done that before.
Did you have
So
headphones or no?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
That helps.
Yeah, but I think again, I think I was more focused on the visuals. So I went back and listened to it, strictly off of Amazon Music today, and it's growing on me for sure. Like I say, I'll hold most of my thoughts for next week, but I think I think they described it aptly. They said it's a continuation of Black Clouds, and I would agree with that. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I've seen people complaining about the production, but I really don't see what there is to complain about. Oh, Kale's rocking his chocolate milk again. I love it. Yes.
It's almost part of the signature.
It is.
You picked up on that, but you haven't picked up on this.
Well, dude, come on. You have to promote your own band. You have open lines here for that. So
open lines of conviction.
Yes. See, Brian, he picked up on it immediately. I love it. But anyway, yeah. So, I think that the production itself is phenomenal. I mean, the only thing I would say is I'd like to hear a little more bass guitar, but I think that's something you could say about pretty much almost all of their releases. I don't know if it's something tonally where Mayung's tone just blends into the kick drum and the guitar so much that it's a little more difficult to hear. But other than that, I mean, how can you complain about an Andy Sneap mix? I mean, I love pretty much yeah. I mean, even if you don't like the band that he's working with, the sound of what he does is just untouchable. So,
and I mean, even if you aren't a big View from the Top of the World fan, it's pretty undeniable that was a really good sound.
Yeah, completely. All right, so
it's a great sounding record, even if it's not a great record.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree. Like I say, even if you don't like the material, you can't deny that the sound is just excellent. So the guy's got a phenomenal ear. So, all right, so we definitely wanted this to be more of a fan-driven show. Oh, look at this. All right. Like we said, guys, use the link at the bottom of the screen. Put that in your browser to jump on camera. Get into the green room just as our very good friend Doug McCauley for the first time. What's up, man?
How you doing?
How you guys doing?
Sorry, man. So give us your thoughts, your initial thoughts on Night Terror.
Oh, man. Well, what can I say? First time hearing Dream Theater back in full for the first time in 13, 14 years. Pretty trippy, man. My first thought, I literally wrote down stuff when I listened to it. You know what? I'm not even going to go with it because I'm pretty excited about it. It's a great track. My initial thought was, oh God, no, it sounds too predictable. But then they tied it up in a nice little bow at like the first minute and 30, and then completely blew my mind with the rest of the song. Pretty cool track. I really, really digging it. It's sort of similar to Kale there. And oh man, I'm just stoked that these guys are back and killing it like that.
So from what you were expecting, like some people have these sky high expectations. Some people are like, I just want to hear some kick ass new Dream Theater music. Like, so for you, when you first heard it, was it like was it a letdown? Was it what you wanted? Was it better? Like,
I'll tell you what I thought. I thought it was a safe track to drop on us because it sounded very familiar. but it
Okay.
also sounded new at the same time. I thought they weren't trying to really rock the boat too much with it. It really actually it's a pretty good banger. It sounds like something they could open up a set with or even an album with. I was shocked to find out it's the second track on that album because it sounds like an opener to me. But interested to hear what comes before it and after it. I'm not going to judge an entire album on one track, so I'm really excited to hear the rest of it.
For sure. Well, let's get to some comments here because we do have another person in the green room. Our very good friend Zauberer96, all the way from Germany, man. And he looks like he's pounding off a bottle of vodka. I'm not going to lie, Zauberer. We're going to have to discuss that. But so let's get to some comments here. Aeronetic, good to see you, man. I don't think I've seen you in the chat forces. I thought that was a Cleveland baseball Cleveland shirt. So he catches the reference there. That's good. All right, so we have Aeronetic as well saying Portnoy rocking the jersey and bandana transported me back to my high school years. Yep. Rocketman 137 said new song, let's go. It's a grower for me. First listen was a little underwhelming, but second listen was better. Definitely enjoyed the proggy section of verse 2. Aeronetic says, yeah, they usually use the safer songs for music videos, so good call there, Doug. Giovanni says first single is always the safe one. Yeah, so very good take there. All right, so let's bring on our very good friend all the way from Germany, Zauberer96. What's up, man?
Hi.
All right, so first impression of Night Terror.
Well, first of all, that's water. That's not vodka.
Okay.
Look,
people,
drink water?
I was going to say, seeing the size of that bottle, look at that. Hold that bottle up again.
I didn't think they
I'm
had
not
water
wrong
in
for
Germany.
thinking. Come on.
that's
That ain't water, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think of the new single. I when I first listened to it, I thought it was great, but now I listened to it like 4 times, and now I think I'm starting to feel underwhelmed. I don't know.
Okay. Why are you feeling underwhelmed?
Well, it's just I don't think it's something new. It feels like a repetition of something that came before. I think especially the intro reminds me very much of As I Am and of
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm excited to hear the new album, but I don't know. It's not my favorite song.
So I think that for me, and let's all you guys like, let me know how you feel about this. I think there was an immediacy to the Alien. You know, that was the most recent, quote unquote, like album introductory single that we had. So I think for me, that one immediately, I was like, holy shit. This one did not give me that, but I still really, really like it. And it is growing on me. And the one thing I would say, and I'm interested to get your guys' thoughts, I'll start with you, Brian, then go to Kale and Doug and then to Zauber. I think with this one, like people have said, yeah, it sounds familiar. It sounds, I've heard these fills and else. But to me, it's like, after 40 years, these guys just have a style. I commented on one of the posts today. Like, if you go buy a Black Label Society record, you're going to get like, pinch harmonics. You're going to get the squealies. You know that. If you were buying a Van Halen record, you're going to get tapping. You know that. And people go, oh, well, it's old after a while. Yeah, but that's their style. So to me, if you hear, oh, well, I've already heard those Portnoy fills and the Petrucci fills and those tones from Jordan. Well, that's their style at this point. They're so ingrained. Of course, it's what they do. I mean, what do you guys think about that? I mean, let's start with you, Brian. We'll go around the horn here.
Well, you made a good point about the Alien, and the difference is going off of so there's 2 versions, the radio edit, right, which I guess leaves out the eerie kind of keyboard intro. I didn't listen to the radio edit, so full disclosure. But the Alien kicks right into everything. The guitars and drums, everything's like you said, it's immediate banging away. This, you got to sit through the little keyboard spooky intro, then the kind of a clean guitar stuff. Then we get some pretty cool fills from Portnoy before we finally get going. So you do have that element. Yeah, I mean, it's safe is a good word. People have been throwing around the As I Am thing. Yeah, I told you there's a part in the middle there, and I don't know if Kayla will agree, but it's like, okay, I told you when we kind of had a little sneak peek of stuff behind the scenes, knowing what we knew, we're going to get elements of Nightmare to Remember. It's going to be impossible, right? So
Yeah.
so you're getting literally some of the chord progressions just twisted around in that middle part there, and I think it's fairly obvious, but it doesn't bother me because, like you said, it's familiar. It's sort of what they do. It's a decent, safe single. They're just not going to come out. They're not going to be able to come out and do another, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. I mean, that's just not. I just don't think that's going to happen at this point. We might want for that to happen. But even if they said, "Hey, we're going to do a part 2 to this," which I don't even know how you do that. You know what I mean? It would still
Right.
people would still be like, "Well, it's still not as good, right?"
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts.
Kale.
I mean, it's like buying a burger and complaining you didn't get a pizza for it. It's you knew what you were getting into. You should have done anyway. It's Dream Theater. It's what they do. You can't be expecting them to just go, all right, we've got our old drummer back. Let's just completely reinvent ourselves. It's like, that wasn't what we were going for. If we were going to do something like that, it'd be Marco Miniman's taking the role now. It's Virgil Donati's taking the role now.
Yep.
This was, to me, always meant to be a return to a bit more of the status quo after A View from the Top of the World. And I think we got that. I mean, the haunting keyboard intro there actually reminds me a lot of On the Backs of Angels, how that started up. Whereas you get that first riff, the way that's structured, going into that bit more chuggy, reminds me of Pull Me Under. Then you get into it more and you get that Black Cloud, you get more of that View from the Top of the World kind of feel. It is a continuation, as Zalbra said, but it's a continuation of everything that's come before. Maybe not so much Falling Into Infinity, but it's all there. This is like, hey, we're celebrating 40 years of Dream Theater. Here it is in one condensed package.
Yeah.
That's
Doug,
what it is to me.
Oops, sorry, Kale. Sorry to cut you off. Doug, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying a lot. Definitely was feeling the As I Am vibes in that song. Definitely structure-wise. But what I haven't heard anyone saying is how good James is sounding lately. I think he sounds phenomenal on this record so far.
Yes.
Also, how was that video production quality on that video?
Yeah.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
the camera's focused in on everything you want to see. The atmosphere is all there. It's really creepy. Really awesome video. Yeah, I mean, everything you guys are saying is accurate. You're getting the DT formula essentially right there, right? Like it's those guys. What do you expect?
Yeah.
What you're gonna get. So
Actually, did anyone see this morning? Portnoy actually said that's the old 6 Degrees kit with a different head on it.
I did see that. It's
That's
kind of
cool.
cool. It's kind of cool that they're kind of leaning into the history of it. I think, I mean, Zalber, it's your turn now. So, I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, because obviously you said it's a little too familiar. You're a little underwhelmed. By the way, we have another guy in the green room. So, Chris, we will get to you in a second after some comments and Zalber here. But yeah. So, I mean, what about that? I mean, do you think they're leaning too much into the history and nostalgia of it for you, or?
Yes, because think about it. The classic 90s albums. Awake was a complete different sound compared to Images and Words. Falling Into Infinity was a new sound. 6 Degrees was a new sound. When I first listened to The Glass Prison for the first time, that blew my mind. So I think they are leaning too much to this classic DT sound because A View from the Top of the World was going back to their roots. Distance Over Time was going back to their roots. Dramatic Turn of Events was going back to their roots. I think they already did that. So I was hoping to hear something a bit new. But
Okay.
yeah.
I can feel that, but let me ask you this. They said going into it, this is like this is going to sound like classic DT because that's what we do. That is the sound that comes out of us. You know, I feel it's maybe a bit unfair to judge them on that.
Yeah, maybe, but it's just my personal opinion.
Totally.
But I can say James LaBreeda's sound very good, and I think the drum sound is better than on the last album, so it's not all bad.
That's Talma versus Pearl for you.
So I have to. So real quick, we're gonna get to some viewer comments here in a second. Then our buddy Chris Moran is jumping on. I got two quick things. Number one, Brian, can you believe what we have on the screen right now? We've got the United States, Australia, Germany, and Canada. That's pretty badass.
So if it's a hockey tournament or a soccer tournament, we're going to get our ass kicked. Or if it's if it's rugby, we're going to lose too. Now basketball, we got this.
Yeah.
You know what though? I do want to go back to. He made a very good point.
Okay.
The first 4 or 5 albums, they don't sound alike. They kept reinventing themselves, and that is a valid. And man, that's a very valid point, and I completely 100% agree with you. But the problem is, man, that's such an impossible standard to continue to kind of top. But if you're as good as Dream Theater, you kind of go, wait, maybe they can do it. So there are very few bands, and that's a great point, that like the first 4 to 5 albums, completely different sound, completely different concept, and the way the band grew and evolved. And I don't think that should be understated. That's a great point.
I would say 6 because I think Train of Thought being so unbelievably goddamn heavy and dry in the production, I think you can throw that one in there too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So one thing I want to throw in,
is completely different from that too.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
So
really
astonishing.
Love it.
Less said about that, the better.
We'll talk about that another show. But yeah, so real quick, one things you guys brought up, James, one of the things I wanted to talk about, just a very, very quick comment. When I did the Empire deep dive with Paul Logue, he and I were talking off air about, James and what he's doing for the record. And apparently James is working with the guy that was working with Steven Tyler and other singers of that level, like physically and singing wise. Like he said that James is saying that he feels incredible that what this guy's doing for him. Like this guy is apparently so good that Steven Tyler paid him to go on tour with Aerosmith. And that's the guy that James is working with. So I'm very excited to hear, how everything sounds live and everything. And, the rest of the record. So I just think that's awesome. And, it's just another feather in James's cap when people crap on him online and stuff. Like, this guy busts his ass to sound so good for us. So I give him all the credit in the world, man. So, all right, let's get to some viewer comments here, and then we're going to bring our buddy Chris Moran on. So Spectre Within, good to see you. He says, definitely my favorite single since The Enemy Inside. Ali Studio, who is our basically our DT16 correspondent in the chat every show. He says, I listened to Night Terror 30 times today. Love the song, dark and heavy. Aaron Edick says, Dream Theater's been my favorite band since discovering them in 2004 with Train of Thought. Marvin Zimmerman, good to see you, man. He says, greetings from Germany as well. There you go, Zauber. It says, I really like the single. Heard some Terminal Velocity in there, and John's riffs are the real highlight for me. Jeff Pazoka, good to see you, man. He says, hey, guys, missed y'all. Giovanni Palaya says, this is why I like waiting for the album. I'm not over-processing one song for a month till the next release. I can absorb the whole album at once. A much more rewarding experience for me. All right, well.
Hope you're on Sand Silver then.
Yeah. All right, let's bring him on the show here. He's a frequent commenter in our chat. Our good friend Chris Moran, what is going on, man? How are you? Uh-oh, he's frozen right when I bring him on.
The dark eternal screen.
All right, let's see if we can bring him back here. I think you're frozen, Chris. So load up again, and we'll bring you back on. Yeah, I think so.
The Classic Metal Show made an interesting point that worked out great for the retired Steve Tyler. Who's the Classic Metal Show? I have no idea what that is.
He's just a dumb fat burn victim. Don't listen to him.
Oh my god, dude! Even for you.
Believe me, he's not going to care. Just wait till what comes back in the chat on me for that one.
Just wait for
anybody who's not aware. Chris Aiken and I are like absolutely inseparable best friends, and we bust balls on each other harder than anyone's ever busted balls. So.
Yeah, there's nothing more hilarious than somebody having 3rd-degree burns from an industrial chemical accident. I mean, I can't stop laughing about it. You're right, John.
It's not a chemical burn, dude. It was molten steel that exploded all over him.
Well, that's still chemicals from the molten and the steel.
Just stop. I'll take my beating for that. Don't you worry about me. Believe me, I've said it before with Chris Aiken. You never ever give him ammo, because anything you say to him is bullets for his gun, and his gun is his mouth. So there you go. And he knows this.
You know what? I gotta say something.
Hey, Chris,
real quick
jump in
here.
the chat. I want to see this beating happen live.
You know, I gotta
he'll
say
do it.
something, Kale. When you first joined our show like 4 years ago, you were a baby, like a baby face. You now look like a man. Our Kale's all grown up. I'm so proud of him, aren't you, John?
Is it because I haven't shaved today?
No, I don't know what it is, man. You just look older and more mature, and hopefully don't risk any more from Megadeth. I don't know if we knocked that out of you yet or not, but.
All right, so I'm going to ask another question, but see, Aiken's already firing back. He says, "I'm terribly offended by old Daniel Boone hat hair." he's gunning for me. I told you guys, I don't have to worry about this, So there we go. Ali Studio says, "I'm trying to join, but how do I do it?" Ali, at the bottom of the screen right now, there is a link, the HTTPS. Just put that in your browser, and it'll bring you into the green room, and we can bring you onto the screen. All right, so
link into the description.
Yes, link in the description. I actually figured something out for a change. All right, so we'll start with Zauber again here. So Parasomnia, and from the song titles, it kind of looks like this is almost 6 Degrees Disc 2-esque, where it seems like it might be a little conceptual. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I have to read them again, but yeah, it is a concept, that is true. But I mean, it's not like 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence where all the songs float into another, and it's basically one song. Or that's another discussion. But yeah. I mean, I'm excited for the album. I don't like singles that much, but I wanted to listen to it because I guess they will play it at the concert I'm attending in later this month. So yeah, but the titles sound good.
All right, Doug, your thoughts on the album title and potential concept?
Yeah, I think it's like there are other albums that are really good to play from start to end. I think that's how they designed this one. It's what it looks like. I think I remember John Petrucci talking about that at some point. It was like, I like to put an album on and listen to start to finish. So I think that's what I'm waiting for this one, to really give it a good deep dive. But I'll tell you something, with all my favorite Dream Theater songs is I don't instantly like them right away. They grow on me.
Okay.
Yeah. The track I heard today, I instantly loved. I don't know what that means. So maybe my favorite.
He's going to hate this in about 3 weeks.
Yeah,
exactly.
Kale.
Yes. No, I'm loving the song. I'm loving the song. I think everything that's there is really working to bring me back in, kind of give it a bit of a fresh ear.
Didn't pay attention to the question, did you?
As I've said in the chat a few times, it's like I'm not a huge View from the Top of the World fan. Do love the sound.
Didn't pay attention to the question. Didn't pay attention to the question whatsoever.
Dude,
No,
I already forgot the question after you asked it from 7 people. Way to run a show, loser. Hey,
Okay, look, you ask a question and you go around in a certain order. This is
12
not
minutes
Brian.
later,
This is
you let someone answer the question.
Jesus Christ. This okay,
Yes,
yeah, because I'm going to cut people off.
15 minutes later.
Oh my God! See, Zauber and Doug, I'm currently in the market for a new co-host. So if you guys would like to be the new co-host, Brian's run his course. No, the question was, Parasomnia, the album title, and the fact that it's potentially conceptual. If we look at the song titles, kind of like the second disc of, 6 Degrees. What are your thoughts? Do you like it? Do you not like it?
I'm liking it. I'm definitely leaning towards being more conceptual, because Morpheus, if you look into that, is the god of dreams and the dude that holds out the red and blue pill for Neo. Night Terrors, definitely huge nightmare thing. Are We Dreaming being a really short track, like sub 2 minutes on a Dream Theater album? That hasn't happened for a while. And the Shadow Man incident, probably, like, I've been reading a lot of Reddit stuff lately, and it's just like, oh, I keep seeing this dark figure at the foot of my bed, and when I wake up, it's gone. But the second it's there, I'm terrified. So there's at least 4 tracks that definitely recommend to me that, yeah, this is going to be more concept than not. And you know what? If we get some good material out of it, I'm all for it. Until I've heard it, I can't really give a proper preference as to whether or not I like it. I think it's got good potential. I don't know what it's going to turn out to be.
Okay. All right, so we got Chris Moran back. Let's see if we got him. There we are.
Yay!
Hey, there we go, man.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, what's up, guys?
There's another version of you in the green room there as well. So, all right, so let's get your first impression. Then we got Chris Minnick in the background. We'll bring him on in a second. So, Chris Moran, is it Moran? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, Chris, your first impressions of Night Terror.
Oh man, I thought it was a really good single. I love John Petrucci's guitar parts. They're like there's oh man, the guitar solos are so crazy, and also I'm really excited for this new album.
So, what do you think of the title? And again, we the question we just posed that Kale paid no attention to.
People were leaving.
That's what we do on this show. We bust balls. So what do you think of the album title and the fact that it may be potentially a little bit conceptual based on the song titles that we've gotten?
Parasomnia?
Yep.
That's what the name of the album is?
Parasomnia, yep.
Parasomnia. Sorry, I get that name mixed up.
Hey, props too for getting your workout in while you're on camera, man. That's awesome, dude.
Well, I pace around my room while I listen to music, so.
I do that when I'm on the phone, so I feel you.
Yeah, so I'm glad it's not just me.
So, what are you guys thinking about what do you guys think about the track list?
I never judge personally because I remember thinking that Barstool Warrior was a really stupid song title, and now I can't live without Barstool Warrior. So like I've learned to not.
I meant the track list for the new album.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like I tend not to judge because I've been very, very wrong. There's some, and not just with Dream Theater, but I've seen other bands that I'm a fan of, and I've seen a track listing when they announced the record. I'm like, what kind of a dumb song title is that? And then all of a sudden I love that song. So,
right.
I with those, I totally wait for the record to come out. You guys, Brian, did you have any issues with the song? I thought
they were
titles?
cool, but I guess there's like a hidden track called like "We Came to Rock," which makes me think that it's not necessarily a concept album.
Oh shit!
So
you're such an ass.
No, I like I told you before. I love I actually love the titles, man. They look cool. It looks like I mean, there's for sure it's got to be a concept album. I think it's going to be very sweet.
Did you guys
Aiken,
really
by the way, Aiken's tuning in. I told you guys I would take my beating. Chris Aiken, the Classic Metal Show, says, a drunk that can't live without Barstool Warrior. Shocking.
Oh.
See, guys,
Barstool
you guys never have to worry about me cutting on Aiken because I will catch it back. So, and if he ever gets me first, I'll go get him. So don't worry about that. All right.
Barstool
There we
Warrior,
go.
I love that song.
Giovanni Palaya. I thought the hidden track was Mustang Sally.
Is that the Viper King's girlfriend?
Mustang Sally. Nice.
Hale, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Sweet.
All right, so yeah, Chris Minnick, we will get to you in just a quick second. So, yeah, what about you guys? Going around the horn real quick. Zauber, track listing. Anything stand out to you like weird, or are you like me, like you just tend not to judge, or?
Yeah, so we know that there's another epic at the end. I hope it will be great because I feel like they've done so many 20-minute songs now that I mean the Illumination Theory was the worst for me personally. But
Champion's pose.
But I think what you can read from the titles here is that it will be leaning into this darker sound that they kind of showed with this new single.
Okay. Doug, what about you? Oops,
I
sorry,
more look at the length of the tracks. That kind of guides me on what I'm going to like or what I'm not going to like. I'm going to like it all. But looking at the Shadow Man incident, I'm thinking that's the big, one at the finish. It's the big, long, epic one. Those are the ones I generally gravitate to. So I'm looking forward to hearing what they come up with there. I'm thinking Are We Dreaming is a little more of like the Wait for Sleep kind of vibe, maybe a lead into something else. But I don't know. They're not really giving you a whole lot. I mean, they kept a lid on this pretty tight until now. So it's been kind of exciting to see it all kind of blow up all at once here.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying too. Is like, this is, I don't know how old you guys are, but especially for, I'm in my late 40s, Brian's in his early 70s. Like, and, when we were growing up, like, we would, all we would get was, look at that. He knocks over his green screen. Nice work, Brian.
I just laughed so hard I knocked over my green screen.
Look at that.
Great work, Brian.
You can still see it in the background too. It's weird.
That's fantastic. Oh, this is such a high production show. But yeah, like, I mean, back when we were kids, back when we were kids, like we would know the date the album was coming out, and then we'd hear the first track on the radio, the first single, and that was it. So the whole fan base heard it the day it was released. And like, I really love how they've done such a great job of keeping this under wraps, because it is building that anticipation that we haven't had in music in general in so long. I mean, with internet leaks and, people just, kind of file sharing and, streaming shit and all this kind of stuff, or releasing things in pieces. Like, I love that. So, Kale, your thoughts, did you follow the question this time?
I think I already pre-answered this though when I was talking about the concept, didn't I?
Okay.
Because I was talking about Morpheus and Shadow Incident. So,
all right. Well, all right. Then let's get a couple comments, and then let's get our buddy Chris Minnick on here to get his opinion. Jeff Pazoka says, also considering today is National Hug a Drummer Day. Hugs to all my drummer friends in here. Curious as to why they skipped a day then release all this. Any ideas of reason? I think Jeff, it was, the beginning of the video was Portnoy with him opening his eyes. So I think that was, that was the little thing. It was like the last eye opening was going to be the video. So I think, McCory John, prayers to my orphanage here in Kenya. We really have some challenges like lack of food, shelter, and clothing, and lack of clean water. Well, prayers, if hopefully that's not trolling, prayers for you down there. Hopefully Dream Theater's new record will get you guys through. Let's see. Brianator 1968. We're going to boot him from the chat. Silent Man 2. Good to see you, man. It says first time listening live, finally able to listen. Spectre Within is saying, I'm hoping the Shadow Man incident is like the Count of Tuscany, but with less retarded lyrics and vocal parts. Those are fighting words with Brian on the show, man. You can't be listening.
I was about to give him a compliment because that's a Fates Warning reference with the album cover and everything, and I love Fates Warning. And then why you got to go there?
Well, all right. So Michael McCollum, thanks for tuning in, man. He says, first impression, I could close my eyes and hear that Portnoy stamp. Great vocal melody, cool textures on keyboards, great guitar and bass tightness. Everything I want from a leadoff track. I've been underwhelmed with some of the last few leadoff tracks. Love the urgency of an emergency episode. Great Hugh Syme cover. By the way, have we ever determined if it's Hugh Syme or Syme?
It's full disclosure. Michael McCollum is also known as the Metal Pete. I've played with him in many bands. He's an amazing bass player. One time with the Four Horsemen. Also played with.
Awesome.
Also played with Tim from. I'm drawing a blank here. Judas Priest.
I love
Tim Ripper Owens.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get Chris Minnick has been very patient. Let's get Chris Minnick on here. So, Chris, welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Thanks for jumping on. Your first impression of Night Terror.
Well, I have to say that I dug it this morning. Probably much like everybody this last week, right? Somebody was talking about the teasers. So just a quick backtrack, I think it was Saturday, right? And then it was Sunday, and it was Monday, and then Tuesday, and then yesterday, poof, nothing. And I was like, what's going on? Of course, then it's brilliant marketing, right? So kudos to them. And then this morning, I just pick up my phone. I'm in Central Time, so it's just after 9, and I'm doing the daily. Well, just check today. More than likely, it'll be out on Friday because that's typically when stuff happens. And I look, and then it's like, oh, wait a second. This looks like is this a real post from the band? I'm like, what's going on? And all of this is in real time, right? So I'm freaking out. And so I go to their website for some reason, click on the website and it's like watch video. I'm like, what? What's and again, my brain, I'm not processing it yet. And then so I click on it and it's like in the opens YouTube and it's like, I think it's like the actual premiere. I was like, this is like happening for the first time right now. I'm like, so like you were saying, John, earlier, it's like I just was caught up in like watching everybody, the visuals, and I wasn't yet processing the song. It was just like, is this really happening? I mean, we've been hearing about it for a year almost, but so then I went back, listened to it a couple of times today, and it's got I can understand why some folks maybe at first are like, yeah, it's not jumping out at me, or oh, it kind of sounds similar, but it's them. And as I was listening to it, then I started deciphering like, okay, yeah, I like the drums and all the different parts and pieces. And then it was like, it's what I wanted to hear. And is it my favorite song ever by them? No. But for the first impression, it's great. It's what I wanted to hear. I'm satisfied.
So
I'd say it's my.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I'd say it's my most favorite, newest song by Dream Theater.
Okay, see that's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk about that a little bit. I'll start with you, Brian. Because we've discussed this. I mean, very recently, even as a lead off single. Where how does this stack up to you? Is it like does it get you pumped for the album? Is it kind of middle of the like what were your first impressions of it as a lead off single?
I think it's gonna be tough because we got to hear the whole album first, because then we always go, well, this should have been the single or that should have been the single, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And also it's so early to do the I like it better than this. I think it's got to sit a while. I will say right now I probably rank it ahead of the last two singles. Well, you're right. I'm not going to put it ahead of Alien.
I was going to say you're a big fan of that one.
Yeah, no, I won't put it ahead of Alien. I will put it off a Distance Over Time. What was the first single on there? Was it Untethered Angel or was it the
Untethered Angel? Yeah.
Untethered.
I'll probably put it ahead of that right now, but it's also like it's kind of unfair because knowing Portnoy's back, it's sort of a little bit of a bias, right? But
That's true.
I still think it's safe to put it ahead of that. So,
yeah.
Even though
what about
a really good song.
Say that again, man.
Even though Untethered Angel is a really good song. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. And yet I think Brian, you and I both had that ranked pretty low last week, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorite singles they've done. I don't mind it as a song, but I don't think, especially after we went back and did our ranking and how much I love Distance Over Time, I think it's pretty far down the list there, or at least towards the back end of the middle.
Yeah. So one U2 tribute band, thanks for tuning in, says, I felt like even in the first listen, I heard Portnoy's influence. Now, I will get into this more next week, but that's one thing I will say, and then we'll get back to the question for Kale. I actually did not. This sounded very much like Portnoy kind of, at least on this song, held the reins back of how much influence he would have, because this sounds very much like a continuation of something like, View from the Top of the World or Distance Over Time. It sounds a little reserved in terms of the Portnoy influence to me, outside of the drum parts themselves. But again, we'll discuss that more in depth next week. But Kale, so as a lead-off single, where does this land for you in comparison with other ones?
I personally like it more than both Alien and Untethered Angel. I actually think Gift of Music might have been a better lead-off single than this, personally.
Okay.
But, I just like that song. But I think for what it is, it's pretty damn good. And putting that huge Portnoy fill right up in the first couple of minutes there, it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of the whole point of this, isn't it? This is Portnoy is back. Check it out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course it is. That wasn't happening a couple records ago.
Yeah.
It's
all right, so we do have
back song.
I would agree with that. So we got Lou in the background. Lou, we'll get to you in a second. We're going to let these guys finish their points, and then we'll bring you on here. Doug, where does this land for you in terms of a lead-off single compared to what we've had in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I got to agree with Kale on that. But speaking of bias with Brian, I mean, how great was it to hear Portnoy backing up James for the first time in ever? That to me
right.
is the sound of Dream Theater. It's kind of like Queen is those three guys, and Dream Theater is those three guys singing together. So that for me instantly made me like this track, no matter how much worse or better it was than the last single they put out. Just hear that in my head from like the classic lineup again was kind of everything. It's like Kale said, that's the whole point of this, right? So
I got to say, I think Portnoy's either gotten really good at singing in the last couple of years, or I'm mishearing something, because I keep thinking that lower harmony is James, just double tracked.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say like, oh, he's had 14 years to do it, but like, I mean, he has that, but also, stuff, the bands that he's played in where he has done vocals, I mean, like, Winery Dogs is a power trio, so you're kind of on an island in that environment. So I mean, Kale, you as a vocalist, and Brian, as much as I hate to use that term with you, I use it loosely. I mean, you guys know that like there's certain environments, like, if you're with a 5-piece band and you've got harmonies going on, there's more sound going on to kind of bury what you're doing. Whereas if you're in a 3-piece, there's a lot less there. You got to be on your A game. So, I would agree with that.
I thought all of the vocals Portnoy did on that last Petrucci album were like spot on.
It's such an ass.
No, I do want to say that.
I mean, he did too.
I've made this point multiple times, and I'm gonna stick to it after hearing this. I still say that when Mangini was in there, it was a Petrucci guitar drives the song band.
Okay.
And when Portnoy's there, the drums drive the band. And I told you, John, when I heard it, I said, Petrucci doesn't really necessarily do a whole lot solo-wise in the song until you kind of get to that Flight of the Bumblebee little thing, and then he's got the melodic, single note line things that we've come to know in the last couple albums. Otherwise, fairly restrained John Petrucci, and is that a result of you sort of get more of the thundering? I joke about the overplaying, but the thundering sort of the big fills that come from Portnoy.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, dude. I agree with that.
You lost
like I
me.
say, I will hold my thoughts for next week. I'll leave this to all you guys, but I don't disagree with that. Zauber, where do you stand in terms of this as a lead single compared to what we've had as lead singles in the past?
Yeah, that's interesting. I became a fan in 2014, I think, and there's never been a lead single since then that was completely great for me. But I think when Unfettered Angel came out, I didn't like it at all. But since you did the song rankings, I listened again, and I actually like it now. So my opinions can change. What I think is great is that they are able to release a 10-minute song as the lead single today. I don't think they could have done that 30 years ago.
Yeah, I think
Remind me to cycle back to that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's also the most Dream Theater thing they could do. Like if Portnoy's back and you're going to do a Dream Theater thing, you're not going to put out, hey, here's a 5-minute. No, here's the 10-minute song. I mean, it's longer than anything off of Distance Over Time. Like, I mean, it's pretty ballsy, but that's what Dream Theater does. So I thought it was a great choice. So Chris Moran, your thoughts on Night Terror as an opening single compared to how does it stack up for you compared to other opening singles we've had?
Oh boy, I think it's. I mean, if you want my opinion on it, I would say Night Terror is actually more better than the Alien.
Wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. Chris. All right. Chris Minnick. Where does this stack up for you? Night Terror against the other lead singles that we've had.
Yeah, especially in recent years. I don't know. It's tough because the thing I loved the first time I heard the Alien is not so much how it began, but there was that kind of, once that all kind of quieted down, Petrucci had a really nice solo line, and then he had it later on in the song. And the second I heard that, it was just like, oh yeah, this is fantastic. And today, especially the first time as I was trying to process it, you kind of listen for, okay, what's that one thing? Or are they going to stop suddenly and then do some kind of different riff and go in another direction? And it didn't necessarily, for me, have that. It was just the combo of everything. So maybe it was just more the completion of the entire song that made me like today's a little bit better.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, Lou has been waiting, so let's get Lou on here. Lou, good to see you, man. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you look and sound great, man.
All right, good.
So your first impression of Night Terror, the opening single from Parasomnia.
Well, I was quite surprised that we got it today, first of all, I guess. I was convinced that we weren't going to get anything before the first leg of the European tour, and it was going to be an announcement later after that tour was over. So I was kind of shocked that we ever starting to get these teasers all week. And then when the eventual song dropped, and with the tracks and the album artwork, I wasn't expecting all of that as one big nugget. But I definitely thought that the song is classic Dream Theater-ish, picked up, be cliche, but right where they left off. I hear a lot of different albums in there. And what I like most about Mike's playing is that his grooves are, I don't know how to explain it. You can just hear the grooves that he changes the grooves, every 8 measures, whatever he does. And that was missing from the Mangini era. I think that his stamp on the songs was definitely different, and to hear his background vocals again, the whole package was a knockout. The song itself, I think, is more of I want to say a simpler song from the guys. And in terms of even the riff complexity and everything of it is just not a hard song like to digest. I think if you want to put it that way, but I think I was just surprised by it just coming today at all. And I listened to it several times when I went for a walk today, so I get the full experience in the headphones. But definitely a great song. James sounds great on it. There's a lot of guitar, wall of guitars. The keys and the bass are kind of low in the mix in a lot of the song, but it's definitely a chugger,
For sure. All right, so I mean, you bring up something interesting that I want to pose to you guys. And by the way, if you guys want to jump on, the link is at the bottom of the screen. We won't take up too much of your guys' time here going forward, but and by the way, guys, we do have our fan hangout coming out. It's on Friday, December 20th. At 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is exactly what we do. We get you guys on camera to co-host with us, and that one we just talk about any damn fool thing we want. And I drink Gorilla Farts, and Brian does his unholy concoctions. It costs like $2.84 a piece. So yeah, if you guys want to come on and just bullshit with us for Christmas and get drunk, that's what we do. Our very good friend Chastity Crawley calls it drinking into infinity. Get a couple comments in here. Tom Cullen, good to see you, man. He says, I have my thoughts on the new single. Sounds a lot like Systematic Chaos. Marvin Zimmerman says, I think it's cool that the album release date falls on the Philly show, which is the first show of the U.S. leg. I wonder if they'll play it in its entirety that night. That one I very highly doubt.
I don't think so.
Not a chance.
I don't think so. Not a chance.
I don't think that's. Giovanni Pelaez says, Portnoy's vocals, love them or not, do add another dynamic to the songs that have been missing. Always hated when they would just double James's backing vocals as well. All right, so we'll start with you, Lou.
Yeah,
we're getting a lot of kickback on somebody's mic there. So how?
Hey guys, real quick, if you're not talking, just go on mute real quick. That might help. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Just an FYI.
Look at that. Brian's a tech guy. Usually. That's bad. We're both bad at tech.
All right,
so
echoing.
Echo. You. All right. So the question is, we'll start with you, Lou. How obvious or not obvious was the Portnoy influence when you first heard this?
I thought it was obvious right away. I think that like I mentioned earlier, his just the way he switches up his grooves around a riff when they go into they're playing in 4/4 and he's doing like some alternate meter underneath it, so that it's just that feel was missing with Mangini. Not that he can't play that, but it just obviously everybody's got a different style, and whenever you replace any member, you're not going to get the same guitar. You're not going to get the same keyboard. You know, everybody's going to change when you get a replacement. But that was the biggest thing that I heard, that he was making the same riff sound different throughout the song. I think he's good at doing that, for sure.
Chris Minnick, what was the Portnoy influence huge for you when you first heard it, or was it like muted, or?
No, it was especially in the beginning, you know, that first minute and a half or whatever that is, the opening salvo, if you want to call it that. It was, you could tell right away his presence was there. And then especially as the song kind of went on, and then like you were mentioning before, you know, with the groove changes, and Phil, it's definitely, you know, even just close your eyes and you can just, he's doing little things, whether it's his footwork or just little cymbal crashes or his little fills. He always does this thing where he'll do a really long fill, and then he, like in the middle of it, cuts it off and then goes to jump to something else. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's like, we're back, here we go. It was instant for me.
Awesome. Doug, what are your thoughts on that? You know, was the Portnoy influence immediately there? What, you know, or?
I mean, other than the fact that dude opened his eyes, and that was it definitely could call it with Mike.
Nice.
Yeah, I can, I'm so familiar with Mike's drum that, you know, even on the first listen, I could air drum along to that until you got to that first fill, and I was like, okay, didn't see that coming. It's a little bit different for Mike to do that, but I followed along pretty. I could easily air drum without ever having heard it before. That's how much I'm familiar with Mike's drumming, and it was all there for me. So I was like, okay, comfortable. They're in a pocket. It's nice. Mike's back. What can you say?
Awesome. Zauber, was the Portnoy influence immediately there, or?
I don't think it sounds that different to what they did on A View from the Top of the World. I think you can definitely hear that it is Portnoy playing the drums, but from the composition, I don't think it's that different.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree that the song structure is definitely what they've been doing lately, if you want to put it that way. And we got to hear the Portnoy, what do you call it, little bell thing that he does, which was missing, obviously, for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
In there.
He's definitely got that signature sound, and like we'll get to you, Chris Moran, in a second. Like for me, I think drum part wise, it's obvious, but this was not what I was expecting. I was really expecting a very Portnoy driven, you know, he's got that certain heavy metal rock feel to him in terms of when he's really influencing the band. You saw that on the last few records that he did with the band. And I didn't get that vibe off of this. This really kind of sounded like something that, you know, I'll compare it to a dramatic turn of events where, you know, Petrucci had written everything and said, okay, well, here, I wrote the drum parts on the drum machine. You played this, and if you want to throw some extra shit in there, go ahead. That's what I heard. So, Chris,
I definitely
Chris,
think this is
think?
I'm sorry. I definitely think this is a Petrucci riff for sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so Chris Moran, your thoughts? Was the Portnoy influence immediate there for you, or was it like
absolutely
not as much Portnoy as I would think?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a long time since I've heard him drum, but his drumming is so powerful. If I do say so myself. I mean, he is better than Mangini, but
that's a whole.
But I do like both
in and of itself. We need to book that one, Brian. Brian, we've talked to Mangini. We need to get Portnoy on the show, and then just Mangini, and they're like, okay, guys, who's better?
It's such a subjective thing. You know, I got a lot more of kind of a Ricky Rocket, Phil Rudd feel from these drums. I don't know if anyone else noticed that. And that drummer is from the Sleazebees. I forget his name. Aren't they from Australia?
What is wrong with you?
What in the hell are you talking about?
Right.
I will send you a link, Kale. I'm not making this up.
All right, so we got Jeff Pizzoka waiting, so we'll get to Kale, and then I think Kale and Doug and Zauber, I think we're gonna say goodbye to you guys for tonight and let some other people on here. So real quick before we get to Kale, we'll let you get actually, Kale, final thoughts. We'll give you guys your final thoughts. Kale, you go first, and we'll go Doug, then we'll go Zauberer.
I'm not yet feeling the huge Portnoy influence. It's definite that he is there, and that's unequivocal. It's just I'm still feeling like we're still writing as if we're still in the Mangini era. The other thing I wanted to bring up though is I'm noticing with the art, the single cover especially reminds me of the Room 137 that we had in the Distance Over Time yearbook.
Yep.
And the girl on the Parasomnia cover, is that the same little girl that we saw on Images and Words now getting tortured to hell?
Yeah, I had somebody online today saying that, there's no correlation whatsoever. I was like, dude, like I'm normally like
Look at her face. It is
well,
the same face.
and rotate the room. If you were to rotate
Yeah.
the perspective of the Images and Words album cover, like the windows there and everything. So
Everything looks very familiar there. But yeah, I'm definitely here for what Parasomnia is going to be. I think it's going to be a huge album, and long life to Dream Theater. Long may they reign.
awesome. All right, Kale. Well, we will talk to you soon as always, man. Much love to you, dude. Have a great day over there since it is daytime for
See you,
you.
Kale.
Yep, it is about 8:32 in the morning now. So yeah.
Whoa.
There you go. All right, man. We'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week.
Peace, Kale.
Catch ya.
See you, Kale.
All right, Doug. Final thoughts before we
Final thoughts.
catch you loose here.
This one's probably going to get some rotation in my my playlist for a while, just because it's new, and we're going to have to wait to hear the rest of it till February. So I'm a little bit. I want more. You know, you gave me a little bit, now I want more. So I can't wait to hear the rest of this stuff, and I will be listening to this quite a bit over the next couple of days and dissecting it a little bit. Overall, I'm pretty stoked that Mike's back singing again with the guys, just having a good time. Looks like they're having fun, at least out there. So I think they are having a good time. It sounds like it in the music, at least. They're very playful and creative. So that's pretty much my final thought on the thing. Even if it's not like everything you want it to be, how could it be? But it's still awesome. It's Dream Theater. It's great. See them on the road, I hope, somewhere.
Hell yeah,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, man. We appreciate you very much. We'll see you in the chat. And remember, man, if you want to jump on the fan hangout, just shoot us an email or a message or something, and we'll get you on and we'll just bullshit.
We will do.
Awesome. All right, brother. Well, thanks for tuning in, man. I always appreciate you in the chat and everything, dude. Great to see you in person.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Take care, man.
Rock on.
All right, Zauberer. Final thoughts, man. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's not my favorite thing at the moment, but it's a new single by Dream Theater, and I'm very excited to hear the new album. I think my opinion on this could totally change at any moment. I didn't like The Alien at first. I didn't like Untethered Angel. Now I love both. So it will be interesting how I will look at this single in a year from now or something. And I'm just excited to hear the new album and for the concert.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, much appreciated, dude. Same thing with as we said to Doug, man. Thank you so much for tuning in and always being in the chat and hanging out with us, dude. So again, if you want to jump on the fan hangout in December, just let us know and you're more than welcome to come on and we'll just bullshit about anything. All right. Tech on the net. Can't even talk. So we'll catch you later. Later, Zauber. Grüß Gott.
Yeah. Bye.
Cheers. All righty, let's bring on Jeff Pizzoka. What's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for jumping on.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, Jeff.
Yep, we got you. All right, so your initial thoughts on Night Terror.
Tears of just, I almost bawled my eyes out because I was so happy because, again, like me and a lot of other drummers, we have been waiting over 10 years for this. For Portnoy to be back in the band, and it's like, holy shit. And I was just so overjoyed to hear the collaboration between the five of them again after all this time. It was surreal. It was awesome.
So to answer that last question, did you hear the Mangini influence, or excuse me, God, I keep saying that. I'm so used to Mangini being in the band. Did you hear the Portnoy influence immediately, or was it not as pronounced as we thought it might be?
Definitely. I mean, Portnoy's got that sound that no one else can either replicate or duplicate because it is him. That is what makes Mike Portnoy, and then Mike Mangini sounds what makes Mike Mangini. So immediately you hear those octobans, you hear that, his bag of tricks where he does 4 and 2 with the kicks in the hands, just those fills and just everything that he does that is him. It's like, okay, we're home. Here we go. So it was a good time.
All righty. So you're speaking from a drummer's standpoint. Let's talk about something that people were talking about in the, obviously, well, I hate to bring this up, but the Dream Theater message boards, because they did not disappoint today. They were just, yeah, they were online message boards. Zauberer kind of hinted at the fact that he thought that the drumming was a little too, I would say, predictable. So Brian, I'll start with you. I know, that, you're not much of a big drumming guy, being more of a key guy, but I mean, what did you think about that? Because for me, like, I almost, on my first listen, I thought that, yeah, it was okay. I've heard these souls from Portnoy before, but again, like I said earlier in the show, to me, it's like, but that's how he plays. And once I got over the fact of, okay, well, it's something I've heard, it's like, okay, but it's like that old familiar favorite pair of shoes. If you're coming back to this, I don't want to hear some left field bunch of bullshit. It was nice to hear something I'm comfortable with. It's, I don't want to see Dream Theater all of a sudden putting out like a jazz record. You know what I mean? So, what did you think about the drumming? Was it too predictable for you? Was it exactly what you wanted? Like where do you stand on that?
Well, the comfortable pair of shoes thing, like you wear Van Halen Crocs, and those things are sorry. I'm sorry. I just had to say it, man. Those are not cool. But
they're high tops, asshole.
Okay. You know what, man? I mean, I joke that there's a tendency for, I think, overplaying, but that's kind of what the whole point of Dream Theater is okay, well, we can get somewhere, going in a straight line, or we can zigzag around here, and sort of, the journey that we get there, I'm going to make it cooler than the fact that we just went from here to here, right? I thought there was, and a couple people use the word safe. I've definitely heard a way more, okay, that's not totally necessary, Mike Portnoy, right? I think this was a restrained but a heavy Portnoy on this. And, like you guys were saying, like right off the bat, he sort of gets to shine a little bit there, after the little guitar intro thing, they let him take off and do some stuff. But, for Portnoy, it's kind of like, on his scale of 1 to 10, he's barely hitting a 5.5, right?
Right.
Which is fine for the single. And by the same token, you can't have just somebody come out there and what do you want them to do? Do 14 time signatures? Like, I mean, there is a point in there where I think I counted 3 or 4 different ones over about a 2-minute span, but they do it in a way that you barely notice it,
Yeah.
But you can't turn it into jazz fusion, avant-garde, whatever. Oh, I know how to play all this cool stuff, and I'll just play it. That doesn't do the song any good, right?
Yeah.
So you got to find that balance of okay, the prog and the musicality and making it pleasurable to the ear. And again, I'm pretty sure this is, like I said, I'm guessing the rest of the album we're going to get full 10-10 Portnoy. This I don't know. This is what, 6.5 at best, maybe 7.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and it's good. I'm not saying it's bad.
Sure. All right, Chris Moran. What do you think? What do you think
about what?
Man, you're filling in Kale's role.
Talking about it anymore.
You're filling in Kale's role, man. So,
sorry,
Mike Portnoy, the drumming on it, was it too predictable for you? Was it exactly what you wanted? Was it fresh? Like, how did it sound to you?
I think it's exactly what I wanted. Okay. You know how he actually drums so fast that he does really good drum solos.
Totally agree, man. Totally agree.
Oh, can I say something?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Did you guys know that I got tickets to see Dream Theater in Chicago, and I got a VIP?
Really? All right.
Nice.
So where? So and that's at the Chicago Theater, right?
Yes.
Very cool.
My mom, my dad, and my two friends, Crispy and Kian, are going to see them.
Are the seats? You got seats up close, or?
We're in row C on the bottom.
There you go.
So what all is it? Is it
We're on the
meet and greet,
Petrucci side.
signed vinyl meet and greet or whatever and all that, or what all does it entail?
It's pretty much, well, we got the platinum VIP, which is the VIP, the photo opportunity with the band.
Okay, cool.
It's going to be awesome. I'm really, really excited.
Nice.
Awesome, man. All right, well, give us your final thoughts, Chris, because we're going to turn the stage over to Chris Moran and Lou and Jeff here for a minute. So give us your final thoughts before we say goodbye.
I still can't wait for the new Dream Theater album, and I really hope that they actually drop one more single, because I really want to hear more.
Are you going to be able to wait until February 7th?
Oh, I will. It's just that I'm so impatient sometimes, because I get really, really excited when these things come around.
Well, I can't blame you for that, man. So, all right. Well, Chris, thank you very much for jumping on. We appreciate you, and have a blast in Chicago. I've actually been to that venue for Dream Theater.
Nice.
I think three times maybe.
I've been there twice. Once with you, right?
Yeah.
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 Nice.
So it is 3 times. Yeah.
That's
so,
one of the best theaters I've ever been to see a concert. I don't care who it is, man. That's
it's excellent. Yes.
Cool.
And there's a very inexpensive hotel that's walking distance from there, so it's just a perfect location. So, but yeah, Chris, appreciate you very much, man, and we'll catch you on the flip side, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. Well,
All
just
right,
so you know, my name is Ali Studio on YouTube. So.
Oh, it's Ali's studio. Look at
Ali.
There we go. All right, there we
Nice.
go. Okay. Look at you're doubling up on us, man. I knew your name, Chris Moran, and now okay, look at that. He's a multifaceted character on the show. I like it.
Let me tell you this before I go. The reason why it's Ali Studio, it's because she's a character from The Land Before Time. I don't think you've ever heard of that movie.
Oh yeah, we've heard of it for sure, man. Yeah,
it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Beautiful. All right,
and I have
all right, we're gonna turn it over to Chris and Lou and Jeff here, man. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Take care, Rock on.
See ya. All right. So Chris.
Yes, sir.
The mic. Why do I keep doing that? I almost said Mangini again. Good Lord, I've got to get over this. It's only been a year that Portnoy's been back. All right. So the Portnoy influence on the song, like, did you hear that immediately, or was it kind of muted, or where did you stand? Because I think the whole world was waiting for this monstrous Portnoy explosion, and I'm interested to see where everybody stands on that.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, he didn't, I don't know, it's hard to say, right? The thing that I felt like is it just like, you take one mic out, we put in another one, we'll put him back, but it's like the pieces just fit instantly. It's just, it felt comfortable. He had an awesome groove. There's no denying that he's an amazing, well, both of them are great drummers. They're just different, you've talked about that many times, but it's just, it was fantastic. Was he predictable? Someone asked about that. I don't know if I would say that. It was just comfortable. It was like, yes, this is what me personally, it's what I wanted. It's what I wanted to hear. And that's what I got. So I'm excited.
Awesome, man. All right. So Lou, for you, was the Portnoy influence immediate? Was it not enough? Was it like, where do you stand on that with this new single?
So yeah, I think this was a safe song, like as we mentioned. It was a song that felt like a Dream Theater song, and nobody went. I don't think any parts in the song are over the top. from start to finish. It's a on a Dream Theater scale of 1 to 10 in craziness, it's probably like a 4, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's comfortable. It's kind of what I expected. I like that Mike's back. I can hear that he's back. I know it's not Mike Mangini.
Apparently, I don't.
And I think that the song itself, and I think this is where Mike probably put a lot of his stamp on. I think John came with this, this riff that, is pretty much the whole song. It's that riff. He plays it low, he plays it high sometimes, but we don't get the theaterish Dream Theater from the astonishing that kind of crept into a lot of other songs. I don't know if I'm explaining it. I don't. The best way for me to explain it is like Barstool Warrior has a section in it that is kind of like, I would call it a theater, Dream Theater. It's very musically, it moves in a certain way, and they've started to slip it into a lot of their songs. This does not have that. And the Breeze vocal melodies are way better than they have been on anything previous to this. So I like that about the song. The chorus is great. And I'm hearing little bits of different Dream Theater albums all through it. And it's not just the Portnoy Dream Theater stuff. It's the stuff they did with Mangini. I can still hear it come through. It's just, I'm just happy that they're still putting music out for the last 40 years of my life. I don't care really what it is, at this point, not a lot of
really
bands you can say that,
Yeah. Isn't that the thing? Like, I'm like the biggest Van Halen honk you'll ever meet, and I'll never be able to see Eddie Van Halen again. It's like, but Dream Theater is this constant, and it's just so cool that we continue to get new stuff, man.
Yeah, it's I don't care at this point, what it is. It's I'm just happy to hear something new, and I'm sure it's going to grow. The album, I'm sure, is going to be crazy with the song titles, and I think it's going to be somewhat of a concept album because it seems to be all about sleep in some way. So it's loosely all these songs are going to be loosely tied together somehow. We just don't know how yet, right? So it's going to be an interesting reveal for sure.
For sure. All right, Jeff. So you as a drummer, you obviously are coming from a very different perspective and a more knowledgeable one than the rest of us. So the Portnoy influence, was it immediate there for you? Was it not what you expected? Like talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Really quick, just to fill in, I will be going to see them at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, and I also got my VIPs. My best friend is flying up from Massachusetts, and we're going to catch him there. So looking forward to that.
Awesome.
So, all right. So, and again, Portnoy is the reason why I started many, many, many years ago. Again, I'll discuss that more in the fan hangout come December. But this is what, again, makes Mike Portnoy him. He takes his drum parts, and it is just so unique and so musical what he brings and applies to the composition. And I wouldn't say his drumming in this track is very tasteful. Yeah, he gets, I believe, at least 2 spots early, kind of the opening in the bit where he kind of leads into the main opening riff. Well, after the opening riff, and then in the middle, he's got like a second solo type of thing leading into essentially the pre-outro. So to me, what he brought and what he did, predictable because it's him and it's his style and it's what makes him him. Yes. However, the fills and some of the grooves and some of the things he did was fresh. Some stuff was new that isn't. Yeah, I mean, to to like a lay person who thinks all Dream Theater songs sound the same, or Mike Portnoy sounds the same in every single song, that may be. But to us who really listen, yeah, you may notice things sound similar, but again, he seems to find a way to bring some freshness and do something a little bit different and new that keeps you interested and drawn in. And that's what I heard.
Awesome. Yeah, like I say, for me, I heard Portnoy on drums. I did not hear Portnoy the songwriter. I think that's the best way to phrase it. You know, I think,
did he write the lyrics for this? Do you know if he wrote the
don't
lyrics
know.
for this song?
I'm not sure where the lyric credits are on this one. I mean, the whole record, honestly, I mean, we haven't seen yet. I haven't heard anything about who was writing for it. To be honest with you, like I wouldn't be surprised if this is conceptual, and if it is conceptual, I would have to assume that that's all Petrucci and Portnoy, because they're the ones that like to do that sort of writing, and
Yep.
I would heavily agree with that, because again, what Portnoy is saying, this is literally picking up where Black Clouds left off. So I'm kind of feeling, Black Clouds Part 2. And also considering the fact when he left Dream Theater, the first project he really got involved with was when the Rev Sullivan died from Event Sevenfold.
Yep.
That was literally the first project he really got into. So the fact that album was very dark, and I mean, obviously they're few and far. They're not the same thing, but I can definitely see and feel a lot of his writing influence and John Petrucci's, and again, kind of taking from where Black Clouds left off. But you also got to remember, you cannot just ignore what Dream Theater accomplished during the Mangini era. So you got to take those influences and that type of vibe into effect as well. So I think with the rest of the album, we're going to hear some of that Mangini era influences there, but obviously with Mike Portnoy coming in, putting his spin on it. And I'm really, really interested to see what he does with Mangini's parts for the tour. That's going to be a sight to see and to hear.
Completely agree. All right, so we're coming up on an hour and a half, so let's close up shop here. So I'll ask you guys one final question. We'll start with you, Jeff, and we'll go around the horn, end with Brian there.
Okay.
So are you guys a little bit surprised by the fact that what we're getting seems to be really, not just on the dark end, but really deep into the dark side of things? For me personally, I was not expecting that. I was expecting something with all of the Dream Theater flavors, and the marketing they've released, the name of the single, the name of the album, everything to me just has this dark, ominous feel. We've heard rumblings that this album is heavier than Train of Thought. And Train of Thought is a very, it's one of the more divisive records in the band's catalog, because the fans that aren't into the heavy side, it kind of pissed them off. They're like, damn it. That's why Octavarium was what it was. It was, kind of like a course correction from Train of Thought. So I was a little surprised by the fact that this seems really dark and heavy and ominous. And I really thought they would kind of, since it's the 40th anniversary, they would touch on all flavors. Where do you guys stand on that? What do you think about the direction this appears to be taking?
Look at what they did with Black Clouds and Silver Linings for a second. You had a dark opener, Nightmare to Remember, and then you had a good blend of vibes of emotional spectrum type of songs on that album. And again, it was very personal to Portnoy, because The Best of Times written because of his late father, which is a beautiful notion to do. So. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I wouldn't necessarily judge the song by the name. The name may be what the name is, but what the actual vibe of the song is, I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. I mean, even though it looks dark, well, Black Clouds look dark, but then we got a nice mix of different emotions and different vibes off that album. It wasn't a completely all dark and black album like Train of Thought was. So
very good point.
If I had to make a safe bet, I would say we're going to get a nice, beautiful blend of emotion. And again, they said that this is, where we are and what the future holds. So it's really going to give us a good look into this new chapter of Dream Theater and what's to come.
Awesome. All right. Well, Jeff, thank you very much for tuning in, man. We always appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. So Carpe
bud.
Diem, and we'll see you sometime soon. And again, if you want to jump on the fan hangout at the end of the year, just shoot us a message or an email, and more than welcome to come on, man.
I will. Thanks, guys.
All right, take care, man.
Thanks.
All right, Lou. So what are your thoughts about the seemingly dark direction that this whole project seems to be taking?
I do think it's going to be dark. I mean, based on the song titles alone, and it's hard to speculate, but it seems that it's there doesn't. I'm looking at the song titles right here. It doesn't seem like there's anything in there that's going to be a fresh feeling at all to me. You know, I mean, not to say they can't go somewhere within a song, but I mean, this Night Terror song was obviously about, you know, a subject. I know I remember my cousin when he was little had the issues, wake up screaming in the middle of the night with you know, from bad dreams and not be able to control that.
Right.
It seems John's gone down this road, you know, with the invisible monster. He's in the you know, that type of mindset for
Yeah. Is John
type.
Petrucci telling us that he has sleep disorders?
He might be.
Your thoughts, discuss.
Forsaken.
But yeah, I think we'll have moments of brilliance and bright spots in here, I think. But I think overall it looks like it's, you know, I've never heard I had to look up Arms of Morpheus because I didn't know that meant sleeping. You know, I just Googled that term and everything points to, you know, some crazy sleep disorders, or even the last title, Shadow Man Incident, seems to be some kind of mystery that I ran. I don't know if it's related, but that's all I could find on it, you know. So it seems to be that it could be some kind of story that they're telling here, but, you know, well, I guess we'll find out. But I think there'll definitely be something that's weaving through this album, whether it winds up being a full concept album. I don't know, but it's definitely there's a single thread going through it of some sort, you know.
Totally.
But I'm looking forward to hearing it. You know, I like I said, I'm always up for some new material from my favorite guitar player. So
very cool, man. Yeah, I was going to ask if you were a guitar player. I saw the Hamer banner behind you. So.
Yeah, I got my hammer. If you can see there, I have an old picture of John behind me. Where is it? Over there. That's like from, I don't even know where that's from. It could be from Images. You know, beardless John.
Wow.
From Guitar Magazine from eons ago. So yeah, I have. I was lucky to go to John's guitar camp a couple times and met him, and it's a good time. Met some great people there, not just the artists themselves. You know, I made some good friends that I'm still in touch with from his Guitar Universe shred camps. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's like nice. I was going to mention Star Wars Celebration, which leads me to my final question. Let's get to something important there, Lou.
Yes.
Over your right shoulder, I do believe I see the is that the Revenge of the Jedi? I see the Vader helmet, or is that
it's covered with stuff. Let me look and see if it's. Yes, it is Revenge. Good eye. Yes.
Look at that. See, Brian, you should be so impressed. As soon as I put him in solo, I was like, dude, that's some nerd shit right there. I would be remiss if I didn't bring it up.
When he said he had a picture of John, I thought he meant you, like back there.
No. Nobody wants that, not even my wife. So, all right, Lou.
I don't have a try.
Dude, Lou, thank you very much for tuning in, man. We appreciate you. It was great to hear from you.
First time, long time. You know, so like I said, I listen to you guys on the when I go for walks because I have band rehearsal when you guys are usually live on. Is it Thursday nights, right?
Thursday night, yep.
Yeah, so I can't hear you guys, so I usually listen, you know, as soon as I can afterwards. But this first time I'd be able to catch you live when I don't have practice tonight. So
awesome,
very cool, man. Well, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the support, man.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
See you, man. All right. See, I mean, come on, Brian. You got to give me credit for that. I see one little poster, and I totally.
You know, I did do some research. That Arms of Morpheus, that's actually about being strangled to death by Lawrence Fishburne.
God damn it. I was waiting for that. Oh, my God.
It's seriously.
All right. All right, Chris, real quick before we get your final thoughts here, the chat is. So Zauberer, they're talking about like sequels to songs and everything, and Zauberer is still going And someone said, I'm waiting for 7:00 the song, and they're doing all the sequel shit. And Zauber said, it feels like 3:00 here. And of course, Doug is like, well, yeah, all that vodka water. Our chat is the best, man. You guys are awesome for tuning in. Thank you.
Well, yeah. First of all, how cool is it that we've got Germany and we got Kale? It's like you guys are international now.
That's what I said. I was like, I realized that when we had our first couple guests, I was like, holy shit, this is like global. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Remember our very first show, we had Canada and Australia, and we thought it was going to be me and John for 6 years, the two of us. Literally, that's the one we thought. We thought okay, maybe 2 of our musician friends, and then all of a sudden, some dude from Australia and Canada are like, wait, what? How did you guys even find us? The whole thing, we'd laugh about it all the time. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, it's a blast. I mean, I'm really glad that the link worked for everybody, and like I said, we do the fan hangout on December 20th. It's every year. It's our Christmas show, and it always ends up being a 2-3 hour show, and we just bullshit about anything. It's just complete blast. So, thank you for coming on, Chris. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
So. All right, so we'll pose the question to you and then give you your final thoughts as well. So this is going apparently down a very dark road, which again to me was kind of a surprise. What are your thoughts? Does it feel like it's going that way for you, or what are your expectations, or how do you feel this is going to end up for us after hearing the first song and knowing what we know?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. So definitely, everybody's talked about it. It was online, that it's a continuation, right? From Black Cloud, Silver Linings. And I noticed, I think today there was an element in the song, because everybody's talking about bits and pieces, right? That we are picking up, and where is this going? Where is it leading? And that sounded to me like Rite of Passage, which is right off of that album as well. But I think what they're going to do, or at least I'm excited, right? I think what they're really good at, if this is a concept record, is they're really good about weaving, whether it's the story with lyrics or the story with just the music, and how it all ties together and flows. And maybe technically the single is the second song, right? So I tend to be more optimistic and think that we're going to maybe progress out of the darkness, if you will, start there, but maybe head toward, and then it also leans right, because they talked about where they're going next. So I think that's a way of, okay, we've picked up from when Portnoy was last in the band, and now here we are. Okay, I'm excited to see. I think that's what's going to happen. We'll get a journey, and not that it ends positively, so to speak, but just maybe the music's a little more brighter, uplifting toward the end.
Yeah, I think Jeff brought up a really good point that honestly I hadn't considered. That he brought up Black Clouds, and when you first hear Nightmare to Remember, and you look at the artwork. I mean, it does look like you're in for kind of a dark ride, but it does have all those kinds of flavors on it. So I think maybe I was expecting a little more something like that. So maybe that's what we're gonna get. I don't know. For me, it just seems like the way they're marketing it, and I don't know, just the vibe of everything is just bleak, is the word that I would use. So I'm thinking, and especially maybe for me it's because it's Halloween and I'm into horror movies and all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be all nothing about nightmares,
Right.
So there's not gonna be. I had a good dream, I saw my family that I miss, nothing like that. So look at Zauber. At least it had silver linings.
Right.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm interested to see where it goes. Lou brought up the point that he looked it up, and I'd be shocked if this wasn't conceptual from what everyone's saying. And again, Lou said that he looked everything up, so and it does all kind of tie into a certain theme, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, all right. Well, Chris, thank you very much for jumping on, man. We appreciate you. And if you want to come on the show again, like I said, we've got the fan hangout in December, and feel free to jump on. We're gonna have some drinks and just talk about what the hell ever, and just have a good night of it on Friday, December 20th at 7:30 p.m. So feel free to jump on, man.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for, it was fun. I've been much like one of the other guys was saying, Thursday nights, or, when you guys are on, it just never seemed to have the time. But tonight, football game hadn't started. And I told my wife, it's I'm going downstairs. I'm geeking out. I don't care. This is my thing. And so, but no, I just wanted to say, I've listened to you guys for 4 years. I'm not sure how long it's been now, but just every other week, just look forward to it. And I love your show. So thanks. It's just a pleasure to be on, and look forward to doing the fan hangout in December.
That's awesome, dude. We really appreciate it, man. I mean, it's not just lip service from us, but we really do appreciate you guys that tune in and, you know, listen to the audio replays and watch the videos. And especially, like I said, jumping on live with us is awesome to have you guys run the show. So appreciate you very much, man. And we'll see you very soon. Like I said, if you want to jump on in December, just let us know and you're more than welcome, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care, man.
See you.
Well, there we go, man.
Real quick, David Fry, squeeze play, 5-3 Guardians.
Yes.
Top of the ninth. We have first and third with one out.
There we go.
First and second now, but anyway.
Oh, thank God, dude! I love that Jose got off the schneid, dude.
They did bring in Clase in the 8th. He threw 7 pitches, so he's got to come out and try to finish it now. Anyway, dude, I mean, how many damn people did we have on that I didn't even know listened to the show half the time?
I noticed that as well. I mean, not only the multi-country thing, but then people, I was like, man, this is somebody new to us. Like that's just amazing. Like it's so flattering. I joke with my wife because she said, you podcast all these different times a week. I'm like, no, it's just once a week. You know, I'll do my nerd show one week and then the other week I'll do, you know, Dream Theater. And I always joke with her and she's like, you going to podcast again? I say, yeah, I'm on the world's preeminent Dream Theater podcast. Like, because there's so many Dream Theater podcasts, you know. But yeah, it's just awesome. And tonight worked out like just way better than I could have hoped because, you know, that was our goal tonight. You and I talked about it. Like, you know, we're going to, you know, give our own thoughts on a full episode next week. So we'll be back next Thursday. Obviously it will be,
are we doing the horror movie one though?
No, we'll bump that. We'll bump that.
Okay.
And I will, you know, I will need that, I think, because I'm just going to be in a pissy mood because I'm going to court that day with a dickhead that ripped me off of some money for doing some yard work for me. But anyway,
oh really?
Yeah. That's all. Who cares about that? But yeah, like it's you know, it's so cool to like come on and, you know, like I was about to say, like you and I said, let's let the people that are into the band and, you know, the people that are awesome enough to pay attention to our show, let's let them have the platform tonight. Let them talk about what, you know, less than 24 hours from the release, you know, less than 12 hours from the release of this thing. I mean, let's let them get in, and it worked out better than I could have hoped.
Even forget all that. Like the people are like, yeah, I've been listening to you guys for 4 years. Like, what? I can't even listen to me for my wife doesn't even want to listen to me anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I mean, people don't realize that. Like, that takes like serious like dedication, and you actually like whatever the hell this is that we're doing, which we make it up half the time as we go. But it's like,
right.
That is so cool, man. I mean, to think that this many people still listen to what we're trying to do here. And we fully admit that we are running, you know, you can only, you know, talk about so many things, you know, at some point, right? But it's like, I mean, for him to come on and say, you know, well, you know, I don't get able to catch it live, but I download and listen to them all. I mean, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the word you're looking for is flattering, dude. It's, you know, we do this for fun. I mean, let's face it. We did this as an excuse to bullshit music for me and you to hang out. You know what I mean? And
well, I don't know about the me and you hang out part, but yeah, I mean,
it better be that because you have way more knowledgeable musician friends than me to hang out with and do a podcast with. So
I don't know about that, but
oh, I do. I know that for sure, man, and you do too. But yeah, it's awesome to be able to do the show and, you know, to give people a platform to talk about the band is great. And I think it's the thing that really struck me tonight is like it's cool, you know, because when you go online and you know you look at these Dream Theater forums today, you know, I always call them forums, but you know the Dream Theater Facebook fan pages and all that kind of stuff. There's so many people barking back and forth at each other and griping and this, that, and the other. Like I really like that our show is a place where people can come hang out, and it's just a positive discourse. You know, it's like, you know, even you know, Zauberer, you know, he was completely honest, which I totally appreciate. You know, he's like, yeah, you know, I liked it when it first came out, and then I've listened to it a few more times, and I was underwhelmed. Like, you know, it's an awesome place for people to be honest. No one's gonna shit on each other except for me and Aiken, and you know, like, I mean, it's just a great place to hang out. I think, you know, I love that about this. I think this is a perfect little microcosm of the Dream Theater fan base that you and I have come to know from going to so many shows together. And I just think it's awesome, and I hope a bunch of people that were on tonight, you know, are able to make it for the fan hangout, and I hope other people that are just listening for the first time know that they are welcome for that night as well. And we'll be back next week, obviously. It's going to be, what the hell is the, it's going to be October 17th, and we are going to be doing our deep dive into the single and give our thoughts on Parasomnia and all that. So we're going to be back to taking center stage on our own. And then we will do our Halloween songs episode the night of Halloween on October 31st, unless you have to give out candy. I mean, you are going to have like 3 kids come to your door in that creepy ass, sequestered neighborhood of yours.
Well, I drive around in that van that's unmarked, and I just kind of randomly.
Are you supposed to admit that on air?
Yeah. I mean, it's oh, sorry, that's not me. Yeah, all right, let's get out of here so we can go watch this heartbreak of this game. They got a runner on second, nobody out.
We're going to stay on here and you're going to watch and tell me about it, because if I turn it on, we're losing. Real quick, one last comment. David Ellis. Sorry I couldn't join for the whole show, guys. It's been a hectic morning. We still have not gotten David on a show. We have got to get him on a show, but he's over there with Kale in Australia. So, and if it's New Zealand, David, please correct me. But if I'm remembering correctly, it's Australia. We still got to get David on here, man.
I never even saw this guy. Is he newer?
Dude, just stop, Ryan. David, I apologize for my co-host.
No, I seriously don't remember the name.
He's got a huge prog metal podcast. It's all about Dream Theater as well.
Oh, okay.
This is see, all the way down under. You know what, David? Forget it. Me and you are going to co-host. Brian, I'll kick Brian. You and I will do a Saturday or Sunday, so that you can do it, at an appropriate time, since Brian doesn't have any manners. But
2 outs.
Yeah.
They scored around 5-4. We got to get one more out.
Okay.
So just keep going here.
Okay. Apparently I have to filibuster. As long as we're online, our baseball team is going to win. But
we hope.
All right, guys. So as I said, we are going to be right back here in 2 weeks. It will be Thursday, October. No, not 2 weeks. Excuse me. I'm so used to that schedule. We'll be right back. See, now you got me flustered from
Would
the
you
baseball
like me
game.
take over the show? Words.
No, I got it. We will be right back here next Thursday. It will be October 17th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Brian and I will be doing a deep dive into the song Night Terror, something we've actually never done, a deep dive into an individual song. And we will also be giving our thoughts on Parasomnia and the track listing and all that kind of stuff. I will be throwing a major hissy fit about the fact that I couldn't make the Philadelphia show because I have a gig. And now, of course, the album is released the day of the Philadelphia gig, so I would have basically had an entire day to myself with Brian to just listen to the new record while driving to the show, and now I can't do that. So, God damn it, being in a band. Thank God I'm making $1,500 that weekend. In any case, we will be right back here again, as I said, next Thursday, October 17th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys are new to the show and you're watching on YouTube, please click the like button, click the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you are notified every single time we go live. And if you are looking for audio replays of the show, just Google Talking Into Infinity Podcast, and we are on most audio podcast platforms that you can possibly think of. So until next time, guys, what an awesome day for us all today. We got Night Terror, we got the Parasomnia announcement. We finally have some direction as to what the hell we're going to be getting from this new record next year, February 7th. So hopefully you guys are all having a great time. Thank you so much to all of our guests we had on air. Let's see if I can remember them all, Brian. We had Doug McCauley, Cale McLeish, Zauberer. We had Chris Moran, Ali's studio. We had Lou. We had Jeff Pizzoka. We had Chris Minnick. I'm missing some. Who am I missing? Damn it.
It doesn't matter. We just won.
Yes, yes, I filibustered long enough. Game 5, baby. Game 5. All right. But yeah, thanks to everybody who jumped on camera. Guys, we will see you next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The date will be October 17th. And as always, guys, I am Brian. He is John. I did that on purpose. And as always, Carpe Diem.